Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. Joseph James, schooltrade.com, sidewaysmarkets.com, October 22nd, 2010. Happy Friday to you guys. Had a wonderful week in the room. And of course, finished up a great week here on a Friday morning. Before we took the trades we took today, I want to remind you guys about our blog. If you're on the blog right now, real important guys, lower right-hand corner, you'll see the newsletter sign up. Don't forget you can also follow the blog. We got YouTube, Facebook, right? And don't forget guys, live support as well. 24/7. We're standing by to help you guys with the live support. And right up top, guys, right at the top of this webpage, you'll see webinars and trade room resources. Now, trade room resources has a wealth of information. Pretty much every question you might have as a guest in our trade room can be answered under trade room resources. All right, so check out the top, right? Webinars and then trade room resources. And don't forget, guys, we've got someone standing by 24/7 to answer your questions. Let's see how we did today here. 2, 4, 6, 7 total trades. Took that final trade there just before 11 o'clock on the crude. And of course, you can see here, guys, 10.05 or 105 ticks, 10.50. Had about 80 ticks until that last trade there on crude this afternoon. A little wave or two-step pattern long. Let's see, gold and crude today. Kind of the same old story we had yesterday. We had the Russell and the Euro going kind of flat. Crude and gold were pretty much the only movers, even though they really weren't looking too well today either. Kind of a rough and tumble day. We'll talk more about that in a second, though. Look at the week, though, right? 930 ticks on the week, 9,300 USD, guys. Well, I need 4 contracts to do that. $1,000 per contract is $4,000 in my account. So let's say you went a little bit more conservative and you put $5,000 in your account. We made $9,000 this week. So you took $5,000 and you turned it into, right? Count the I's, dot the T's, cross the I's, right? That's a lot more than 100%. So we more than doubled our money this week, guys. All you needed was $4,000, and of course, more than doubled our money here, guys, at 9,300 USD. Now that brings our monthly total 28,000, right? Not a bad gig at all, right? Invest $5,000 into a margin account and make your 28, 30, right? 15, $10,000 a month. Right, guys, this is not rocket science, and I'm going to show you guys one-on-one in our live trade room every single morning how to trade with us. All right, 178,000 for the year, guys. It's been a great month, great week. We've got about $30,000, $40,000 left for the rest of the year, guys. This is the best time to be a trader right now. I would encourage anybody, come join us as a trial guest. Right, if you want to come out and experience this stuff in real time, come join us as a trial guest. We'll give you guys 3 full weeks to come experience trade room. Or come join as a member. You get lifetime membership, guys, that comes with charts, data, indicators, and of course, lifetime trade room access. Right? Enough about the money we made today. What happened today? Well, of course, it was a real slow day. And we thought OPEX was last Friday, right? But it turned out to be this Friday. Now, it's kind of funny because last Friday, I thought last Friday was OPEX, right? Or we had some brokers tell us the last Friday was OPEX, right? But it turned out to be this Friday. Okay, so it ended up being, remember guys, the rule for OPEX is the 3rd Friday of every month, unless the first day of the month is a Friday, which it was here in October, which means OPEX should be the 4th Friday, right? So last week, had a couple brokers, couple guests in the room last week that said OPEX was last week. I could have sworn it was this week, and of course it was this Friday. We also had no news today. Now usually on OPEX Friday, you're not going to have any news, which means there's no catalyst. Right? There's no crude inventory number released. There's no jobless claims, right? There's no news out there to spark the interest from the speculators. So without any news, with OPEX Friday, we were worried that we might have a little bit low volume this morning. We opened up our charts, we saw the dollar. Dollar was flat as a board. Wedge pattern on the dollar. Average true range on the dollar was dropping. Right? We'll show you guys that in a second. We then opened up crude. We had a wedge pattern on crude. Now, what's a wedge pattern? Go to the blog right now, sidewaysmarkets.com, use that search box, type in wedge pattern, or go to trade room resources right up top here, and you can see channels, wedges, trend lines, right? That type of stuff under trade room resources. We opened up gold, another wedge pattern. So we see wedge patterns on gold and crude, and that makes it pretty simple. Sell the highs, buy the lows, right? Trading wedge patterns are pretty basic. Right? Don't fiddle with the middle. We know that one. Sell the highs and buy the lows, right? Wedge patterns are pretty simple. But wedge patterns, right, are that consolidation, right? That narrowing of price. And of course, the wedge patterns, as we get further and further through them, they become more challenging. Okay, we'll show you guys that in a second as well. So what we had to do was, we had to make sure we had enough room inside the wedge pattern, okay, because we almost didn't a couple times. We'll show you guys in a moment. But we also had to wait for the dollar to move, right? Dollar, and of course, here's my dollar, right? The dollar had to get going today. We had to get that dollar moving. Now, here was the dollar chart. Now, start first, guys, lower right-hand corner. What do we see here? I see a couple things. First of all, I see there's my trend lines. Now, what is this? This is an average true range chart, okay, ATR. This is a 3-minute chart, okay? I use a 3-minute chart of the ATR. Now, if you remember right now, you're going to load the James 2-minute wave, 2-minute range template, all right? It's called the 2-minute range template. And as you can assume, I use a 2-minute, maybe a 3-minute, okay? It doesn't really matter. 2-minute, 3-minute, 4-minute, it's okay. But the key here, though, is we see this trend line here confirming that price is getting narrower. All right, now, you'll notice we've got, there's Tuesday, there's Wednesday, there's Thursday, there's Friday. Okay, so what do we see here? It's getting narrower, right? The price action on the dollar was getting narrower every day this week. And of course, that is classic wedge pattern, right? Narrowing price. Of course, when we see this on the ATR, that means every tick of the day this week has been getting narrower and narrower and narrower, which means there's less and less and less potential for price to move to fill our profit targets. All right, so when we see the dollar narrowing like this right away tells me we've got to be careful, because the later we get this morning, the later we get this week, the more difficult trading is becoming. So this basically told us, right, red flag, right? Be careful out there, because whatever's happening is going to get more difficult as the day goes on. So time is of the essence. Now look over here at the chart itself, right? What do you see here? We see there's that wedge we're talking about, right? There's that trend line high, there's that trend line low, and so there's our wedge. So dollar here now is chopping around inside the wedge. What I want to do is I want to get that dollar to rise, right? Or fall or something, right? Just don't stay chopping around here the whole morning. Well, eventually this morning the dollar broke out. It broke out to the upside. Problem was, though, didn't go very far, right? It broke the new highs, new swing high, but then came right on back down. Didn't go very far. Okay, so dollar this morning told us be very careful. Now, I'll be honest, guys, if you're a new trader, take a snapshot of this, right? Burn this into your mind. If you need to, okay, print it out, maybe make a drawing of it, okay, and put it right here, right? Put it somewhere where you can easily see it. And then each morning, if you see that happen again, you know to trade smaller size. You know to stay away from the more riskier trades, right? Only buy the lows, only sell the highs, stay away from the middle. So the next time you see this, right, you want to have that mental snapshot where all of a sudden it triggers and you remember, oh, that's right, be very careful today. All right, guys, it's all about avoiding a nasty trading day before it happens, right? We can do that. We can avoid a bad day before it happens. It's all about getting the information that makes better educated decisions. All right, guys, so there's my dollar. That told me right off the bat today, be careful. Now let's look at the crude, because that's where we got our day started today. Now, like I said, crude this morning looked almost like the dollar, right? We had trend line highs, trend line lows, and so, of course, there's my wedge. Now, how do I trade a wedge? Sell the highs, right? Buy the lows, right? Sell the highs, buy the lows. Now, what we had happen today was, on the crude, we came up, we tested the top of the wedge, and I sold the highs of the wedge.